This is how we do it. This is how we do it. La, 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 la.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, cops and robbers, gamer gators, anti-gamer gators, and xenomorphs of the internet? This is Devon with Gaming in Progress, and I'm once again joined by Variloh.
What up, everybody?
Now, as you may know by one of my most recent videos, Variloh's channel was recently taken down. He had one of his videos massively flagged, and to the point where YouTube basically said, we're temporarily disabling your channel with the potential that it could be permanently disabled. So I thought I would have Variloh on and we could talk a bit about that. Even though his channel's back up now, there was definitely the possibility that it wouldn't go back up. So, Variloh, why don't you start off by kind of telling us a little bit about what happened?
Sure, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. Well, first off, the notification I got wasn't that it was disabled. It was flat out terminated. Now, when an account is terminated, you're done. I mean, you can appeal it, but you're pretty much done. It's over. And the situation was as followed. I put them out on Twitter, and I put the images out on Twitter. And I kind of explained this a bit on a video I did recently. But basically what happened is that I got notified, 2 emails exactly the same time. One saying you've been assigned a community strike. And for those of you who don't know what a community strike is, it's not the same as copyright. YouTubers have 2 sets of strikes which they can get. 3 for community and 3 for DMCAs. The DMCAs everyone's familiar with. You know, somebody says that you're using their content and they call you a thief and that kind of stuff. But the community is a little bit different. I'll get into that in a moment. But I got a community strike because of one of my AJSA videos, specifically the update video, which was the second to last one. It was over a month old. It was almost 2 months old at this point. And it got flagged, and they don't tell you why specifically it got flagged. They just say it breaks the community guidelines. Those community guidelines being, it could be spam, it could be commercially deceptive, it could have a deceptive title. Those were the ones that said in the email that was sent to me. So you never know which one of these are. However, the second email I got was, hey, your account's terminated, you violated community guidelines. You're done. And if you go over to the community guidelines, you'll notice that they can only terminate a channel 1 strike in if that strike is like really bad and like hugely horrible. I'm talking things like kitty porn or in this case,
So
spam.
basically nothing you had on. Okay, so spam,
Yeah.
which was most likely what the flags were for, because
Yeah.
you don't have any of that kind of stuff on your channel. People were
Obviously.
just false
Obviously.
flagging it.
So it has to be like a huge one, and the ones that they kind of list are spam and commercially deceptive content. Since the video had nothing to do with commercial content, I'm not selling you anything. I was giving my opinion on a forum. It most likely was flagged as spam, and this isn't one user. This has to be a group of users to do it. So that happened. My channel goes down, and it was I didn't find out until somebody on Facebook said, "Hey, I can't watch the Sargon video." And I was, what does that mean? And I go in and I notice, hey, your channel's been terminated, and I see the emails, and I start the appealing process, which is pretty much you jumping through a lot of hoops. You never talk to anyone. It's just an appeal process where they give you like this little form where you just write whatever you want, and you place your email and an email where you'd like to receive the responses to. The email that you put,
And then they'll send you some sort of response.
yeah, hopefully. Because the responses I got, I did it like a total of 15, 16 times. The first 5, you don't have to put the email that is associated with your channel. You have to put your Google Plus email. All of us who have a YouTube, you have a special Google Plus email that you're unaware of, and it never says like in the steps to appeal. It doesn't tell you where to find it. But that's the email you have to put in. So the first 5 times they just responded like, no, that's it, you're done. Which is strange because I was appealing with the wrong email, but they knew exactly who I was talking about. So then I go about 6 or 7 more, and the answers are usually, no, you violated, hello, your account has been terminated due to violation of. They pretty much just told me the same thing on the email. They didn't explain why. Then I finally get a different response.
So they were all.
Yeah, go ahead.
They were all very generic answers, as what
Yeah,
they were all
it was
very
stock
generic
replies.
sounding answers, is what you're saying.
It was stock
Okay.
replies, actually. It was automated replies. I know because if you go into the creators forum, I saw people with the same problem, and it's the same response that everybody gets. Then I got a different one where they said, we've reviewed your stuff and we decided that uh, the bannings it still stands, that we support the decision. So now I'm like, okay, we're getting somewhere. But then I found out that that's also a stock reply. So apparently, if you apply for a certain amount of times, they'll give you another stock reply. And then I started going, okay, I haven't broken any community guidelines because of this. Can you tell me which ones in particular I broke so I can raise awareness? And I linked to the Twitters, saying like, look, if I'm such a spammer, it doesn't seem that way. It seems that there's a lot of support here by a lot of people. At least give me a detailed list. Look, this video broke the rules here, here, and here. After doing that a couple of times, my account was reinstated. I just got just a message. We've decided that you did not break the terms of service and you're reinstated. So right now you must be thinking, okay, the strike's gone. Well, no, the strike's still on my account, which I have appealed and I'm waiting a response. But the strike is still on, which makes no sense, because if the strike for spam is still up, and they, in their own rules, say that if you're flagged for spam in this way, your account doesn't get 3 strikes, it just gets taken down, but my account is back up, then the strike makes no sense. Not
Yeah.
only
If they
yeah.
repealed the banning of your channel, they definitely should have repealed the
Yeah,
strike.
right off the bat, it makes very little sense. I'm starting to even think that that I was reestablished more of an automatic thing. I don't know if that even got through to a team. I don't really know how that works because no one ever tells you anything. All your replies are it feels like they're all stock replies. I know 2 out of 3 of them are. So it got put back up, and I don't know if it was Gamergate support. I don't know if I got lucky. I don't know what happened. Um, but it's back up, and I'm thankful to Gamergate for all the support and to all the people I thanked in the video I made.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's very here we're definitely here at Gaming in Progress. We're definitely here to have you back up. You probably saw the video that we did
Yeah.
on it, or that I in particular did on it. And I just want to make it public knowledge that if for any reason Variloh hadn't had his channel reinstated, he would have had a more than welcome spot on the Gaming in Progress team, simply because he has a right to get his word out there, and if he can't do that in his own channel, then he might as well do it on mine. So,
Yep.
moving on a little bit, let's talk about some of the stuff that happened while your channel was down. I didn't find out until later by you that another Gamergate YouTuber by the name of Vimrano. I don't know
V
how you say
Monroe.
his name. Yeah, there you go, Vimrano. He made uh, kind of a hit video on you saying, "Oh, let's just get this bitch back on YouTube so I can stop listening to him or whatever." Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, before we talk about that, I think it'd be fair to tell the audience at this point that throughout not just this, but in the past, we've become friends, so we should disclose that out there. And I don't
Yeah,
want to, and I
definitely.
don't want to, and I don't want to go too hard on Bimonru because, unlike him, I like it that people have the opportunity to defend themselves when I make criticism of them. It's kind of how I personally operate. So I'm not going to go too hard into what he said. Um, it's interesting because I actually have recorded like 4 versions of a video I was going to put out about it. And I just sat back and I just continued thinking and I watched his videos a couple of times and his video pretty much breaks down into 2 things. His gripe with me in the video is 2 things. The first one, a very valid point, was that when I initially found out about my channel being taken down because of a AJSA video, the immediate thought that flickered in my head was, this is clearly the AJSA. So I tweeted saying such in my first couple of tweets. I then backed down thanks to I got my head on straight thanks to a couple of users, particularly Tyrion from Game of Thrones. No, I'm kidding, but a user whose name is Tyrion, and a guy who's actually an avid critic of mine. Who's I'm not gonna say his Twitter name because his Twitter name is his real name, and I don't wanna say that. I don't know if he wants me to say that, but his I know
Okay.
him as Puntos. I know him as Puntos. And he came up to me and he was like, "Do you have any proof of this shit?" And I was like, "Well, no." And he's like, "I don't like you. I don't like your channel, but I won't leave until it's put back up. You have a right to have your shit up, and it's absolutely unacceptable. This is down." I'm paraphrasing, of course. Um, and
Yeah.
that kind of got me thinking and said, okay, wait a minute. I have one of my biggest critics, a guy who I don't get along with or didn't get along with. Now I've pretty much extended the hand and said, okay, well, let's give this another try after that, because it really tells a lot of someone's character when you butt heads with them and they still support you, when something like this happens. But I said, you know what? Yeah, it's I shouldn't be saying this about the AJSA. They're certainly not angels. Um, but I retracted it. I retracted it 3 times. I retracted it on Twitter, retracted it on Twitch, and I retracted it on YouTube. And the first part of Imonru's video is pretty much about this and saying I'm the kind of person and he hates the kind of person that, he has.
Yeah.
He just hates the kind of person who do this and
Yeah.
and who make unsubstantiated claims and all that thing. And that's fine. It's overplayed for drama's sake, and it's overplayed to milk it as much as he can because it's one of the few things he actually's got on me. Um, and the second part of the video is pretty much just based off of the singular point that is he just doesn't like me, and that's his own words. He just doesn't like me, and that's what his entire video was based off of. And at that point, I just thought, this is, you don't like me. That's not facts. That's not evidence. You're not refuting anything I say. This doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
see, that's kind of how I felt as well. I mean, he he doesn't have to like you. I'm not saying he has to or that he has to agree with what you do. And he was kind of right with the first part of his video, even though that I myself, even as a member of the AJSA community, kind of thought, well, could it have been them? But you were the one who's like, no, that's no way it was them. It's too obvious for them, and it was too sloppy. And it's like, yeah, you're right, it was. But though I'm not saying he has to like you or you have to like him, but the way he made his video, it was just a hit piece. It was just to me it just felt like he was just attacking you, and there you don't have to like somebody, but that doesn't mean you have to attack them in that sense.
The fun part, at least for me, is that I don't know him. So, he said that he doesn't like me as a person. I personally don't know him. If he knows me, then I must check my room for webcams, hidden webcams that he might have access, because I don't know him as a person. I've never had a conversation with him. Our big argument came down to the AJSA and how he handled himself and how I handled myself. I believe that he sold out. I believe he knuckled under. Um, because when the whole to him the whole AJSA thing was fine and we should all visit, and become part of the AJSA after the Gamergate conversation was brought up. And I wasn't just in it for Gamergate. I was in it for all the things that were wrong. The people who were banned were still banned. There were still, you could still donate $45 and not get the things that you're promised. One of them, well, there's only one thing that you wouldn't get, just to make that clear, which was you wouldn't get commander level meetings, which is pretty much at least for the people I talked to, the big thing on it. Um, the people who banned the conversation were the ones to reinstate it. They're still there. And everyone makes a point of looking, oh, Damon Rain is a nice guy. Damon Rain is one of many commanders, and the big kahunas are the ones in the council. So it's a small to insignificant victory. And again, he can say he's pro Gamergate all he wants. His actions will tell. Up until
Okay.
now, he's been fine, but his actions will tell. But away from the AJSA, the whole thing I found with Vimonro's video is that he really doesn't like me because I called him out about that. And then he makes references to I'm not going to Skype with you, which is funny because I asked him to Skype with me back in December when we were having an argument about this. He said, you know what, let's talk about this, you and me. I understood why he wouldn't want to go on a stream and debate me. I understand that. Number one, I have language advantage on him. I mean, let's be honest. It's not a shot on him. I'm more comfortable speaking English than he is. If we do it in his
Yeah, and
native
there's nothing
language, I'm
wrong with
sure.
that.
If we do it in his native language, he'd have the advantage. And number two, I'm really good at debating, and that's it's very non-humble of me to say that, but it's I think it's worth saying. So again, just with the language thing, and the fact that I'm pretty much trained in debates, of course you wouldn't want to go on stream because just because I you know I don't have to be right. A good if somebody goes on stream and has these advantages on you, it doesn't have to be right to
To
actually quote
necessarily
unquote
win.
win. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't. And win is a childish word. So I understand. So that's why I said I wanted to talk to him. And quite frankly, he does good content. I think his comedy is pathetic, if I have to be honest. But when it comes to his Gamergate information, he's on point. He does a lot of content, every day, and I actually liked most of his content. If we're being 100% honest, despite the fact I don't like how he's handled himself. So, but again, the entire video was just I don't like you, and I hate this type of person, and we even got into it in the comment section. And you can see, I mean, you can see he goes on and he calls me a bigot, yet then he calls me the N-word. Um,
Oh, I saw
so
all of that.
so
I saw all of
it's
that. So
he's very passionate about it, and he's very angry at me. And he also brought up the point that I called Sargon Sargi, which is 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 funny since from a fellow comedian, I thought the one person who wouldn't call me on that would be him. But it is what it
I
is.
think
And
if Sargon had a issue with that, he would have made it known by now.
if Sargon would have had an issue with that, he wouldn't have commented on my comment section in that video.
Yeah.
He responded twice. So again,
Yeah.
come join us, Vimonro. And then he had an issue with the Queenie thing, which I stand by. And I strongly stand by. And as when it comes to interacting, and interacting with Vimonro and interacting with Queenie, Queenie is the one that by far I like much less.
Yeah.
So it's funny that all this hate and all this anger is coming from Vimonro. To me, it's funny. I'm still gonna make a video to my critics, but it's gonna be more general and it's gonna be a little more lighthearted, quite frankly.
Okay. But yeah, I definitely saw you guys' little fighting on the comment section on that video, and not tooting my own horn, but I'm pretty sure I'm the one who got both of you to shut the fuck up. So,
Yeah. It was pretty much.
um,
We,
but yeah, I
we
mean, there are definitely things that he does that I can agree with. Like his one of his more recent ones, his Marvel and Disney gender activism video. I definitely agree with what he has to say in that video.
I
The
haven't
way
seen
that
it for
they're
obvious
kind of
reasons.
well, basically, all it is covering how Marvel and DC seem to be more changing established characters to meet diversity quotas, and I definitely agree with that. That's definitely happening in the comic industry right now.
That's funny because
Um,
that's actually been happening for a while. It's just that now we realized it. But yeah, that's
yeah,
absolutely something it's been going on for a while. I mean, Thor being turned Thor being turned
a
into a
woman.
woman
Yeah,
is just the latest in statement. Batman fans will know that Batgirl is a lesbian, the newest Batgirl, not Gordon, the other one. She's
yeah.
a lesbian, and it's clearly to meet a quota. It's clearly to hit a checklist. So
Just
again,
kind of
it's
like how they're changing what is it, Wally West, or one of the guys who played Flash. They're rewriting him as a black person now. Um,
yeah, which is
and
dumb
it's like,
because we actually had for example the Green Lantern that I grew up with was the Black Green Lantern.
yeah.
I don't the original Green Lantern, and all the names are gone.
John Stewart is the Black Green Lantern.
Yeah,
Hell,
John
Hell
Stewart.
Jordan is a white one, and John Stewart, in my opinion, is a much cooler
Yeah,
Green
he's much
Lantern
more
than
awesome.
Hal
I
Jordan
grew up
is.
watching Justice League Unlimited, and Hal Jordan wasn't in it. It was him. It was
Yeah,
John Stewart that was in it. So, and Hal Jordan is just a whole lot of lame in my opinion. But when it comes down to
I
it,
mean, there are the
he has his
Green Lantern
moments.
show that Hal Jordan was in was actually pretty cool, but other than that, yeah, John Stewart is a way cooler Lantern.
Yeah. And there's another one. There's another Green Lantern, might I add. I don't remember his name either. I know this because I know recently I've been reading the Injustice comics where Superman
Uh-huh.
goes crazy. But to get back on topic, because we're rambling and we're almost 20 minutes in, uh, I guess, and I think according to the list I have here, you wanted to talk about the general. rift between some Gamergaters and Gamergate, right?
Yeah, because after I saw what happened with you and V Monroe, I kind of dug a little bit. I know you've always had kind of this beef with Queenie, but I was looking through her stuff, and it turns out she kind of had a little bit of a beef with what was his name, Mr. Repzion.
I don't know about that. I don't look
Um,
into. I try to avoid looking into drama mostly. It comes my way because of what I do. I mean, it's obvious. I criticize people that some people admire. So
yeah,
it comes with the. I mean, you can't expect everyone to be as mature as Sargon. And it came to
or
Queenie,
Matt, because you've
or
criticized
yeah, I
Matt
criticized Matt, and he
several
was one of
times,
the
and he
people who
still
came.
shows support you.
Yeah,
Shows support for you. So
he came down and he actually followed me later so I could DM him, and we had an exchange there, and he was cool about it. Does he
yeah, I've
know that I
actually got.
criticize him? I don't know, but
I would
uh,
think so.
um, I don't know. I mean, quite frankly, I don't know if he's watched my videos. I'd be surprised if he has. But at the end of the day, maybe he's heard something through the grapevine. But at the end of the day, he's a class act, whether you agree or disagree with him. And I certainly disagree with the moderate Gamergate stance, and that's not a
Yeah.
secret. But he's a class act, and there's no doubt. Um,
I can definitely agree with that.
so
I actually
yeah.
got to speak with him once on Twitter myself, so he's very nice. He's a very nice person overall. But anyway,
Mhm.
how do you feel we can deal with some of a little bit of the infighting? Because there's definitely sometimes infighting between gamergaters, particularly the YouTube gamergaters
Yeah.
or
Well,
Gamergate supporters.
well,
Sorry.
I don't really think this is kind of sound a little pessimistic. I don't think we can get rid of it completely because we're all human beings. There's going to be disagreements. Um, if you look at the nature of the disagreements, taking me as an example, because I don't want to take anyone else, the nature of the disagreements, the two big ones with Queenie and Bimonro, both of them are related to videos, and both of them are related to how each other handled, how we all handled ourselves, and that's where the whole thing comes. With Queenie, I was upset that she was going to interview Damon Rain about one of my videos, and she was only going to talk about the part about her in the whole video. When the whole point of the video was a forum was to give people context. A whole forum was closed down because we might shit on Anita Sarkeesian, and then someone says, "Well, can you at least add Queenie's video?" And they said no. So Queenie concentrated on that part and said, "Hey, this is a really convoluted topic. You're going to have Damon Rain on. This is something that you need to, either do all the research or get both sides on." And she, then she did her video, and the evidence is there. And from that point on is where we've got a disagreement. So to me, it comes down to you can't really do much about it because people are going to disagree. Now, there is a bigger problem when it comes to factionalized Gamergate, and it exists, and it's a problem, and it's there. And Roguestar kind of hit on it when I was on a stream with him a while back, a couple of days ago, when the day my channel was taken down, I was on a stream on the Androdol's channel. I hope I did justice to his name. And the reality here is that at least I feel Gamergate is fractioned between the people who only want ethics and the people who believe we have to fight the SJW ideology. And personally, I'm on the latter. I don't think we can have ethics while SJW ideology dominates the industry. I think it's foolish to think so. Um, but if you look at the fighting, if you look at the infighting, most of it comes from people on these two sides, and it comes from that conflict. Some people want to remain marketable, want to remain neutral, want to be diplomatic. That's another buzzword. And other people are like, no, we don't have to keep giving people the benefit of the doubt. And with the whole Joe situation, you can see it. We can very much see these
Yeah,
factions very clearly. Some people would go, it's okay for Joe to be neutral, and other people would go, he's not neutral. In this video, it's clear. And then you have
and
people like me who say
this
that
is
neutrality doesn't exist in this case.
yeah, and that's one of the things you and I still kind of disagree on. I
Yeah.
think it's perfectly fine for Joe to be neutral as long as he's an informed neutral, whereas you think that he should still pick a side and be on that side.
Well, not entirely. I don't think that he should pick anti or pro. What I think is that he should do, because for example, TB isn't on anyone's side. TB has taken issues and he defends issues in particular. What I believe is that you can't have in the case of Joe, you can't have this state of neutrality because neutrality means one of two things. Either you don't know about the situation and don't care, or you know exactly what's going on and choose, I don't want to get involved with anything. And for a guy who represents, I'm against corruption, you can't really not talk about
Get
corruption
involved.
is bad. You can't really not, take a step back. But more importantly, if you're going to be neutral, that means that you don't support any side. He has not made a single neutral statement, is what bothers me. He wants to be neutral. We can argue on neutrality. We can argue all we want. But at the end of the day, if he wants to be neutral, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it despite my distaste for it. What I argue when it comes to Joe is that I don't think he's acted like a neutral. His video supports one side more than the other. It's clear. The fact that he equated us to anti-GG and says, well, both sides harass equally. That in itself does us a disservice much more than it does them. They
True.
want us to be equal to them. Leaving Games Journal Pro, all those things. I mean, you don't have, if you're misinformed at this point is because you choose to be, and that's not a neutral thing to do. That's my stance on it. And as I said, the reason why we got into this example, you can see the line very clearly between Gamergaters and how they react towards Joe. You see people going, oh, it's fine, his video is fine, leave him alone, he's neutral, it doesn't matter. And other people going, no, fuck this guy. I mean, he's had his time to, we waited for him 6 months to get his shit together and say what he had to say. So again, it's while that fractionalized Gamergate exists, not only is it going to cause conflict between people, it's going to hurt Gamergate as a whole. We either need to wake up and say, yes, we have to fight SJW ideology, or go, you know what, SJW ideology doesn't matter, it's going to be ethics and whatever the hell that means. So,
And we didn't. So what she's basically saying is we need to decide as a whole if we're going to take on both or just one.
yeah. That would be
Otherwise,
fair.
the infighting will still continue to exist.
And even
And
if we do
I
that,
think,
even if we do that, there will be infighting anyway, because again, we're
which I
human
mean,
beings with different tastes, different.
yeah, and I'm not saying you can definitely disagree with somebody, but you can't you gotta try to remember, and this is to everyone of Gamergate, that there are people on the other side of the screen that you're arguing with. There are people they're going to not agree with, but you don't want to let it to get to the point where it's just shit slinging at each other, because that's not productive and it doesn't solve anything. And that was kind of what was happening between you and V Monroe in the comment section of his video. Is it just ended up being kind of a shit slinging contest?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, you can say that. Well, in my defense, I was actually taking it a lot more comedy wise than he was. I mean, the whole thing started because I made a joke saying, I mean, we used to have something special, you one crazy ass bitch, which I thought he would get because he's supposedly a comedian. I thought he'd understand the Chris Rock reference. He didn't, clearly, or didn't care. I even made a Game of Thrones joke, which only irritated him more. So, but yeah, we were shit slinging. I can accept that I did my fair share of shit slinging. And I can also say that it obviously pissed me off when I first saw his video, and I saw Queenie's comments in his video as well, because that's the thing when you don't when someone doesn't like you, they're gonna pile on with everybody who doesn't like you, and they're gonna form their little clique and shit on you. But I think the
Well,
lesson
as
of
you could
go ahead.
as you could tell, I was kind of in my initial comment on that video, I was kind of pissed off myself.
Yeah. I mean, and again, you're
So
on more on my side, so we have to, everyone's going to pile on with the person that they think is who's either their friend, which is wrong. We should always pile on to issues depending on the issue itself, despite who's in it. Otherwise, we're Leigh Alexander. I mean, if you only help somebody because they're your friend, then you're no different from Leigh Alexander. Remember, her code of ethics is that she wants, make money, get pussy. I added that one, but
yeah, yeah.
make money,
Uh,
and have her friends standing at the end of the day. That's her kind of thing. That's not
which is
that's not us.
why I said on my second comment after he kind of just made some short, smart ass, snarky. I basically said that even though I don't agree with everything he has to say, and I don't, but he does make good content. I will note. If what happened to you had happened to him, I would have done the same thing. I would have been I would have had his back just
Yeah.
like I had your back.
And the fun
I
part
would have
is
made a
that
video on it. I would have spread awareness too.
he makes an interesting accusation in the video that, he says, I won't have his back. The fun part that he conveniently leaves out is that I've had his back. When Total Biscuit went and shit on his channel, I was one of the people who was there standing with him. And it wasn't popular to stand with Vimondro in those couple of days because TB had shit on him. And when TB shits on someone, Gamergate immediately doesn't want to touch him. And that's a flaw, in my opinion, when it comes to Gamergate. But I stood there with him, so he conveniently has amnesia when it comes to that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's infighting is just that. It's infighting. At the end of the day, it has to be your arguments that win. It has to be what you say. And it was interesting because people like to kick you when you're down. Whenever you have a situation, people kick you when you're down. It happened to him when TB shit on him. It happened to me when my channel was taken down. And it comes down to what I said in a Facebook group. That they were saying two people were saying nobody likes you. I'm like, well, I mean, the like dislike ratio in my videos says that most people agree with me. I don't have a single video under 55%, I think it is. So, and there's just a couple though. I average above 80 approximately. So, it's just if you have a problem with me, if you don't like me, that's fine. But if you have a problem with my content, take the content, say you said this and it's wrong because of this, you know, engage the ideas. And I don't see any of my critics doing that. Well, any of my haters doing it. I do have a couple of good critics. Shout out to
Critics that'll
Louis.
do that.
Yeah, Luis. Shout out to him. I love him on my channel because he never 100% agrees with me, and I love that because that kind of shit makes you better, and he makes on point, easy to understand comments, and he's clear and that's the kind of people you want. You want critics who do that, not critics who
Yeah,
will be brave and show the character a man that they are and make a video when your channel is not there anymore, and say his video is shit when no one can see the videos anymore. That's
yeah,
not what men do. That's what kids do. But
and
infighting,
that's
it's gonna
something.
happen.
Yeah, and constructive criticism is something that
Yeah.
uh, us here at Gaming in Progress always welcome. Pretty much near the end of all my videos, especially lately, I've been trying to remind everyone if there's anything you don't like, let me know, and I'll work better to fix it. Because constructive criticism is always a good thing, and it's just like the shit slinging type of criticism that is just pointless to me.
Yeah. So
I,
you know. Yeah. So is
oh,
there? Oh
yeah,
well, there is one more thing before we cut out that I'd
yeah.
like to tell people, and this is more of the important part. When it comes to your channel, this is some tips to small YouTubers out there and what you can do to avoid this, because what this whole situation shows, and the Daddy Warpig said it very well on Twitter, is that this shit can happen easy and it can happen to anyone. It can really happen to anyone. It's something easy that can be done to you. As long as a group of people don't like you, they can get rid of your shit, and you will never find out who it was. I will never know who did this. But some steps you can take to avoid it. If you're someone who monetizes his videos, try to use AdSense with a separate account. Like, have a business email and have your YouTube email, and have the business email associated to your AdSense and your YouTube, email associated just to the YouTube, and monetize it like that. Because if your account gets terminated, I was lucky because I did that. And when my account was terminated, I could still monetize other YouTube channels because it was Variloh who was terminated, and Variloh had no AdSense. His channel was monetized with another email, which is, by the way, what in essence is kind of what bigger MCNs do. It's a very simplified version of what MCNs do. That said, get a network if you can find a network, especially a smaller one. I'd say don't expect you're going to get into Polaris or Maker Studios or anything like that. It's the same
Yeah,
thing. It's the same thing,
I'd
isn't it?
agree. I definitely try for like these smaller ones.
Yeah.
Maybe Freedom. I hear good stuff about Freedom. Gaming in Progress ourselves. We're partnered with Creative Nations, so shout out to you guys. They've been very good and helpful with us so far, and they're a fairly new network, so they're still kind of getting together. But they're pretty good for what they are right now.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
if you're gonna go at it alone, you better really read about this stuff now. And I would suggest you at least look into networks in general. But yeah, I'd suggest that. I know I'm doing it now. Um, but of course, I have to find a network who doesn't limit me creatively and has no problem with what I do. I'm not going to compromise to anyone. My
yeah,
ideals. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, so basically, AdSense on a separate account helps. If you have to do an appeal process, use the email in your Google Plus page, not necessarily the email itself, the normal email itself, associated to the YouTube. It's the one on on the Google Plus page. Makes no sense, I know, but trust me, you have an email that you're not aware of, and it's there. Um, and be careful with tags. And if you're gonna piss people off like I do, be prepared
be
because
ready.
this shit's gonna happen. You can always be the kind of guy who doesn't piss anybody off and just is okay with everything and be a Jay Leno. But if you're gonna criticize anybody, be ready because SJWs, um, critics, haters, they will come after you, and you'll never know
Yeah,
who it was. You'll never know who it was.
and I'm pretty sure by now I've got my fair share as well. Um, Simply because of the stances I've taken. But I mean,
If you're
I'm
not pissing anybody off, then you're not doing a right job. You're not doing a good job. So yeah.
exactly. Um, One more thing we did want to talk about. I don't know if you remember this, but this all happened, as Variloh stated. This all happened during the Law and Order SVU thing.
Oh yeah.
Um, and we kind of wanted to just share our thoughts on that a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and let you share your thoughts first, and then I'll kind of chime in here.
Well, quite frankly, 100% disclosure. I haven't even seen the full episode yet. I mean, I'm very cringy. I can't, I can't watch something that makes me feel shame for someone else. And just looking at, I've seen a bunch of the clips already, and I've seen bits and pieces, but just seeing the thing with the girl getting beat up in the bathroom and then going, they leveled up. I just
Yeah,
like lay in the fetal position for like an hour, just cringing off of how pathetic that was and how uninformed. And then seeing Ice
I
T
know.
saying,
It's like I had so
I mean, when Ice
I
T
had so many
says the
issues with
words,
just
I
that
read it. When you got like Mr. Ice T, okay, badass,
shouting out to Kotaku. Yeah,
yeah, saying I read it on Kotaku. I mean, that it's like you've fallen far, man. I mean, you used to be
and not
gangster.
even that. He was like it was better. I heard it was better than SimCity 5 with the
No,
something
Civilization
something.
5. Civilization 5 was what he said. Civ 5.
Oh, he did. Civ 5
I
with
think it
the
was Civ
whatever
5. I'm
expansion.
90%. It was either Civ 5 or Sims 5, but I think it was Civ 5. And at
Yeah, I
least
think
that's
you're
what I
right. I think
heard. But again, I was under the influence of cringe at that time, so I don't know if
yeah. It was just oh my god.
it was
Um,
embarrassing. It was embarrassing, but
it was
again,
even it was to the point where even Kotaku themselves were pretty embarrassed. I mean, they didn't mention anywhere in the article they put out that he had name dropped them, but you know they know.
well, of course they know.
Uh, um,
But when it comes to down to it, it's also kind of a non-issue. It really is at the end of the day kind of a non-issue. So, I mean, we've had every big mainstream media outlet from the liberal American side, and some even from Canadians, um, shit on us.
yeah,
And we didn't get them as near as much attention. We didn't even get Nightline as much attention as we did to what a tacky drama cop show gave us.
yeah.
So,
But in the end, it just ended up being something
yeah,
hilarious for us.
it was funny, agreed. But something that I think Gamergate has to do in general is that yes, it's funny. I am very happy. Red Chan.
Yes,
I'm very
Red
happy that's
Shanty.
a thing now, and I'm happy of that meme was born. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, okay, it was funny, it was stupid, it was uninformed. Even the antis got mad. Move on, and
Yeah,
kind of move on. Don't dwell on that because there's much more important shit going on. I heard recently, like today, something big happened, and I haven't even looked into that. And I think Choo Choo has something to do with it. Oh, it's kind of like, okay, that's SVU was funny. It's a bad show. No one gives a shit. It used to be good, but it's a bad show. It had bad writing in that episode. Everyone knows it. Don't try to get like one of the people. I even saw somewhere that they wanted to get like the guy who played the villain on a stream, and I'm like,
No.
it's irrelevant. It's not important. Just move on. Nobody cares. There's bigger fish to fry.
The
You want
only
an
person
issue?
from
You want a
the
real
only
issue? Look at, if what happened to me shows anything, forget about me for a second. Let's talk about the fact that small YouTubers can get crushed. That's
yeah,
that's that's an issue, and it's an issue because I'm not the only gamergator it's happened to, and this isn't the only medium. How many times I think Press Fart to Continue's Twitter is still down? Did he like leave, or is it that he was still banned? Because that guy gets banned, all the time. Roguestar gets banned all the time. The Ralph Retort gets DDoSed all the time. I'm just a speck of dust in the grand scheme of how badly we can get censored, and it's something
yeah,
that we got to talk about. That's a conversation we need to have, over the SVU one, in my opinion, or doing nonsense ops to make us feel better because of it. But
yeah.
what we should be talking about, in my
There's
opinion.
only two real things I'd like to share on the SVU episode. One, where the hell is there a convention center with bathroom stalls that fucking big?
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
did you?
weird.
It's like they were ridiculously sized to where you could probably
And there
fit
was
like
no
five
line.
people in one.
There was no
Yeah, and there
line. I
was
mean,
nobody in the bathrooms even.
yeah, it was. I
It's
mean,
like a convention that big and nobody's going to the bathroom. I call bullshit on that. And
and
then
yeah, go ahead, keep going.
the only other thing is the only person from that episode I might want to see on an actual stream is Ice-T himself. Because I mean, I feel like a lot of what he said in that episode, he kind of just like forced out.
Well, he obviously knows nothing of. I don't want to see him on a stream personally. I don't think he has anything of value to say. I mean, what is he going to say? First of all, again, it's a drama episode. They're not saying like this is my position on a topic. They're actors who are under contract and they're given lines and they read the lines. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ice-T knows very little about gaming in general. Um, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's obvious. Look at him when he said camper. I mean, even the way he said it didn't sound natural. So I don't really care what Ice-T's position is because he's irrelevant to the grand scheme of things. It'd be funny to see him go up with someone like Sargon, because I do believe he probably has this image that all these damn nerds, and it's because he used to be gangster. And
Yeah,
I said he used to be gangster, and I'll stick to that shit. You can't say I read it on Kotaku, even if you're an actor, even if you're reading lines, and retain your status of gangster. You lose all of the gangster rep immediately when the word Kotaku comes out of your mouth. So again, it's irrelevant. It's all bullshit and it's bad for you. That's what I'm going. That's my final verdict. It's bullshit. It's bad for you. Let it go. Don't it doesn't matter. I mean, let's go back to poning Brianna Wu. That would be, and again, it's disturbing. Her shit was greenlit, and she made the whole page private. I think I'm gonna buy her game just to do a special SJW full review of her game episode. Uh,
I think the reason she privatized her page or her whatever for the green light is
to
because
get
she
attention.
got busted. Well, not just that, she got busted when she made that thread on herself while still signed in as herself, and it showed the developer tag.
Yeah, I remember that. I was there. It was funny. I saw it when it was happening because I was in
Yeah,
that page. But again, I don't think she cares that much. I think she put it private just so we would realize that she put it private and we'd talk about it. Because as a whole,
maybe.
we've kind of fallen into the Brianna Wu trap, to be honest. She doesn't want Gamergate to end, no matter what she says.
No,
She wants us to lose influence, but she doesn't want Gamergate to disappear, because if Gamergate disappears, then she's just back to a mediocre
being
mobile developer.
yeah,
Mediocre, and I'm being generous. That's a mediocre, disingenuous, crazy, married to psychopath, kind of person, with mediocre development skills for mobile. So And we don't even know the extent of that, by the way, because she has a team of people working on this. A small team,
Yeah.
but it's a team nonetheless. So again, I mean, she doesn't want Gamergate to end, and we kind of fall for the bait a lot because she just wants to be talked about. Because controversy
That's
creates cash. It's. I mean, if you ever watched wrestling, this is the wrestling mentality. This
yeah.
is exactly what it's about. Do shit that'll piss people off. That's what
It's
it.
why I
That's
generally don't talk about her a whole lot. I mean, every now and then if I see like an article that there was recently an article put out by a woman, forget her name, but she basically called
yeah, I saw
Revolution
that.
60 if offensive in every way, and I actually tweeted that to Brianna Wu just to see if she'd
Hasn't she blocked
read
you
it,
yet?
and no, she hasn't. I'm not even on the Gamergate block bot yet for some reason.
Do you
Somehow I
follow
managed
Nero?
to. Uh, no, I don't think I follow him, but I
That's
follow
why you're
Sargon.
not.
I follow Mundane Matt.
No, no, neither Sargon nor Monday. I think Monday Matt isn't even on the list, if I remember correctly. I think I'm not sure if Sargon is, but I know if you follow, the list was Internet Aristocrat, Nero. I think the Ralph Retort, Rogue. If you
Okay,
follow,
well I follow Rogue. I follow Ralph Retort. I follow the Internet Aristocrat account, seeing as how that's not him anymore. Um, but I don't follow Nero, so I should
Adam
be on there, I
Baldwin.
would think.
Adam Baldwin, I think, was another big one. If you follow
Yeah,
him.
I follow him as well. So
Oh, yeah, I think you're one Nero follow away. But I also heard that the Blockbot was taken down, so I don't know. But anyway, is there anything else you'd like to ask me?
No, actually, I think that about does it for this interview. One thing I'd like to let our viewers on both sides know, um, since we've kind of become a little bit closer through all this stuff, we're probably going to be doing more collaborations together. Outside of me interviewing you, uh, we're not really exactly sure what yet, but we want to kind of do more stuff together. Uh, and it could definitely be pretty interesting. So stay tuned for that.
Yep.
You kind of want to just say your outro or whatever
No, it's pretty much just
if
follow
you have
Gaming in
any last
Progress,
thoughts.
follow me, Variloh. I'm sure the link will be in the description. Or
Yeah.
subscribe. I mean, I'm still thinking Twitch. Um, but I don't know. I mean, it's pretty much just leave your thoughts. If you
Yes.
dislike me, make sure to leave that one in the description below.
Yeah.
Hopefully with some actual evidence as to why. Um, but I doubt that's going to happen. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Thanks for having me, Devon, and thanks for all the help you. I think I thanked you in the video I made. I
Yeah.
hope I
Yeah.
did
You did.
because
Yeah.
I,
You
I
did.
made
You
it.
remember to.
I did it like four times. Um,
Yeah, there were a lot of people here to thank. But anyway,
yep.
this has been Devon with Gaming in Progress, joined by Variloh. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, feel free to give it a thumbs down, and share your thoughts in the comments section, and share this with all your friends. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to myself as well as Variloh. This has been Devon with Gaming in Progress, and I'll see you guys next time.